Minecraft's 1.20 release is just around the corner. This will mark the 20th major update since Minecraft's launch, and behind it is 14 years of changes. So I figured that now would be a good time to go over every relevant changes that happened during this decade and a half. If you're a new player, or a veteran that only came back recently, this video is for you. But before we begin, I need to point out a couple things real quick. Firstly, when I say relevant changes, I mean the changes on gameplay that are noticeable enough to change your gameplay experience. Second, I will only look at updates past the official release of the game, meaning no alpha or beta. And finally, I won't go through commands because there are way too many of them. Let's start with the adventure update, aka 1.0. This update added brewery, enchanting, jungles and therefore the end, hardcore mode, breeding, the Nether Fortress and Nether Ward, mushroom islands, music disc, the snow golems, villagers, and different biomes such as the frozen ocean, frozen river, ice mountains, ice plains, magma cubes, lasers, and lily pads. Changes wise, the swamp got revamped a bit. Before, trying to sleep with mobs around spawned a mob on top of you and knocked you out of the bed. Lava flowing on top of water will create stone instead of flowing through it. Ender pearls can now be thrown to teleport you, and if a mob is affected by a status effect, it will have particles. 1.1, or the adventure update part 2. It added mob spawn eggs, a couple variants of existing biomes like the forest hills, taiga hills, desert hills, etc. As for the changes, melon and pumpkins can now grow on dirt instead of only growing on farmlands. Oak leaves can now drop apples, bow can now be enchanted, golden apples can now be crafted with gold nuggets instead of blocks, magma creams can now drop from magma cubes, and sheep wool regrow after they eat grass. Also, taigas contains ice and snow now, and blacksmiths have loot chests. 1.2's update didn't have a name, but it added jungle biomes, meaning tree, leaves, wood, etc. Redstone lamps, bottles of enchanting, fire charges, ocelots, iron golems, mineshafts, and those small desert wells that are frankly quite useless. As for changes, the height limit has been increased from 128 blocks to 256 blocks. You can climb up vines now, villagers will breed if there are too many empty houses, wolves can be bred with any meat now, zombies can break doors in hard and hardcore, zombies have a small chance of dropping a rare item like an iron ingot, a piece of equipment, and same goes for the skeletons and zombie pigments. Oh, and snow golems can now melt in the nether. 1.3 also didn't have a name, but it added emeralds, ender chests, cocoa beans, tripwires, wooden slabs, sandstone stairs, wooden stairs, trading, books and quills, as well as written books, enchanted golden apples, you know, the one that you can craft with 8 blocks, the option to spawn with a bonus chest, desert temples, jungle temples, adventure mode, as well as new video setting options. This update came with the following changes. Creative UI has been changed, logs can now be placed in 3 different directions, furnaces can now use wooden tools as fuel and give you back the bucket once it consumed the lava inside of it, nether creatures can now travel through portals, slabs and stairs can be placed in other directions, ice and glass panes can now be collected with silk touch, dispensers now places the water or the lava instead of spewing out the bucket, gravel went from this to this, and cocoa beans from this to this. Nether wart can now be planted in both the overworld and the end. Books now require 1 lever to be made. There's more ways to obtain XP now, enchanting went from requiring 50 levels to only 30 and only require 15 bookshelves. New open to land option, and boats were more refined. The pretty scary update, or 1.4, added the Wither and the Wither Skeleton, witches, bats, zombie villagers, command blocks, beacons, anvils, flower pots, cobblestone walls, mob skulls, wooden button, potatoes, carrots, pumpkin pies, the Nether Star, potion of invisibility and night vision, item frames, a new disc, fireworks, and the witch hut. The changes: stairs can now connect to other stairs, there is a new texture for leather armor and food, pig uses carrots to breed, and chicken uses seeds to breed. The redstone update, or 1.5, was one of the more important ones. Boom. It added activator rails, blocks of redstone, daylight sensors, droppers, hoppers, comparators, trap chests, golden iron pressure plates, quartz, multiple layered snow, never brick item, and minecart with non-entities inside of it. Changes: dispensers can now equip armor, place and activate TNT, use bone meal, create fire, and can face all directions. The lava texture was changed, now flows faster in the nether, and god forbid you can find them in single blocks now. The lighting also has been improved, water doesn't need a block underneath to be an infinite water source, bone meal doesn't instantly grow crops anymore, slime spawns in the swamp depending on moon phases now, mineshafts now spawn minecart with chests instead of regular chest, and finally you can manage the inventory with the help of keyboard shortcuts, which is such a lifesaver. 1.6, or the horse update. It added horses, obviously, and all the variants, hay bales, hardened clay, or known today as terracotta, blocks of coal, horse armor, name tags, leads, 3 new effects, have boost, absorption, and saturation, and when it comes to changes, texture packs became resource packs, ultimately allowing you to do stuff like changing the sound. Command blocks can't be mined or destroyed in survival mode, charcoal has a new texture, regular golden apples now require 8 gold ingots, but in turns give absorption Region 1 and Region 2. Glistering melons now require 8 gold nuggets instead of ingots, mobs named Dinnerbone or Grum will be flipped upside down, villagers now do sounds, nether fortresses now spawn with chests, you can't break blocks with a sword in creative, and finally health regeneration costs saturation points. The 3 next updates are all big, so be ready. 1.7, the update that changed the world. This update added a dedicated sprint key, savanna biomes with the wood etc, roofed forest biomes with the wood etc, mega taiga, birch forests, deep oceans, sunflowers plains, and the mesa biome. It also added packed ice, podzol, red sand, pufferfish, salmon and clownfish, a wide range of flowers, rip the rose, chicken jockeys, naming a sheep Jeb will turn into a rainbow sheep, and finally the world type amplified that a lot of us back then couldn't run. Only 2 changes came with this update. You can now craft dyed glass panes and you can also make custom sized nether portals. 1.8 or the bountiful update added andesite, diorite and granite, ocean monuments and its block the prismarine, red sandstone, iron trapdoors, wet sponges, slime blocks, armor stands, banners, barrier blocks, mutton meat, rabbit hide, foot and meat, a new spectator game mode with new mobs, guardian, elder guardian, endermite and rabbits, and finally a new enchantment called Death Strider. This update changed the following. Enchanting has been reworked to need lapis, costs less, and you can see one enchantment before enchanting. Tab appearance went from this to this. Naming a rabbit toast gives it a special skin. You can craft mossy cobblestone, chiseled stone brick, and cracked stone bricks. You can change the lights of the beacon beam with stained glass. Packed ice gets mined faster with a pickaxe. Sponges now soak up water. Doors can now be stacked. Dispensers can now place pumpkins for golems and wither skulls for wither bosses. Mob spawners can be changed with the use of a spawn egg. Melon and ladders can now be mined faster with an axe. Skellies run away from wolves. You can accelerate the growth of baby animals with the food item. Invisibility works properly now, and doors now have different wood variants. Going on to 1.9, the combat update. It added a new combat mechanic, dual wielding, a new sub-dimension in the end with end ships and end cities, and crystal that helps respawn the ender dragon, elytras, igloos, shulkers, purpur, skeleton riders, and stone bricks, chorus flowers, and chorus fruits, and rods, dragon head, grass paths, beetroots with soup, dragon breath, lingering potions, potion of luck, new status effect called glowing, shields, tipped arrows, spectral arrows, new frost walker and mending enchantment, as well as subtitles. Their changes were the following. Every tool now has new damage and attacking speed values, new sounds and current sound changes, brewing stands now require blaze powder, boats have been reworked, health will burn through saturation faster to regenerate faster when hunger is full, enchanted golden apples can't be crafted anymore and have been heavily nerfed, crouching makes you smaller than before, cobwebs can now be picked with shears without the need of silk touch, dead bushes drop sticks, dispensers can equip pumpkin heads, gas paints and borrow looks like this when alone instead of this, hay bales now reduce fall damage, trapdoors no longer require supporting blocks, ender pearls can be thrown in creative and have a cooldown now, sword cannot block hits anymore, pets now appear in dev chat, pigs can be bred with potatoes and beetroots, rabbits became smaller, skeletons now strafe around the players, all wood variants of boats exist now, chest loots from all structures have been revamped, protection and sharpness have been nerfed, when dying in hardcore world you now have the option to spectate it. Jesus Christ, there's more than I remembered. The Frostburn update or 1.10 added barely anything, bone blocks, magma blocks, nether ward blocks, red nether brick, polar bears, the stray, the husk, fossils, new auto jump option, and the changes are dispensers can now equip shields, mineshafts can spawn in mesa biome with dark oak and more gold, endermen can now spawn in the nether, magma crews spawn more often than nether, witches will now drink potions according to the type of damage they take, and savanna villages are now made of acacia wood instead of oak. The exploration update or 1.11 added observers, shulker shells and shulker boxes, totems of undying, explorer maps, woodland mansions, illagers, evokers, vindicators and vexes, llamas, curse of biting and curse of vanishing, iron nuggets, and even if I said that I won't go through commands and game rules, this one can be noticed during gameplay so I'm talking about it. Entity criming, which will inflict damage to mobs and players if there's too many entities coming to contact with one another. As for the changes, furnaces can now use more items as fuel like wool, ladders, bows, bow, boats, sound changes and new sounds, shields will retain the saturune when crafted with a banner, creepers affected by a potion effect will leave a lingering version of that potion upon exploding, messages are now 256 characters long, and shields will block 100% of the damage as opposed to 60. 1.12 or the World of Color update. It added colored beds, concrete and concrete powder, glazed terrain terracotta, and parrots. As for the changes, the color palette has been revamped to look more vivid, wall blocks can now connect to the back of the stairs, clay has been renamed to terracotta, magma blocks can now burn infinitely like Netherrack, paintings will now place to the maximum space they have available. 1.13 or the aquatic update, it added shipwrecks, coral reef biomes, icebergs, underwater caves, ocean runes, new enchantments such as impaling, loyalty, riptide, and channeling, swimming, blue ice, bubble columns, full pumpkins, conduits, coral and coral blocks, kelp and seagrass, as well as sea pickles, prismarine stairs and slabs, stripped logs, turtle eggs, scuds and turtle helmet, the following status effects, slow fall, conduit power, and dolphin's grace. It also added the potion of the turtle master, buried treasure maps, heart of the sea, nautilus shells, bucket of fish, actual fish entities, dolphins, phantoms, drowns, tridents, new music, and finally waterlogging. As for the changes, new sound changes, double chests can now be placed next to each other without needing a block of space, fence gates no longer require a block beneath them, flick the levers now display particles, packed dice can now be crafted, water has now more different color variants depending on the biome, and elytras now use phantom membranes to be repaired instead of leather. 1.14 Village and Pillage added bamboo forest, pillager outpost, illager patrols, illager raids, new based texture, bad omen and hero of the village status effect, natural spawning cats, foxes, brown mushrooms, pandas, wandering traders, pillagers, yes they're supposed to be different, ravagers, bamboo, barrel, smokers, stone cutters, bells, blast furnaces, campfires, photography table, composter, sledging table, grindstones, lanterns, lecterns, looms, scaffolding, smithing table, berries, crossbow, suspicious 2, leather horse armor, and more types of flowers. Changes, you can craft all wood types of signs, new sounds, you can craft more stone types of stairs and slabs, villagers and villages have been reworked entirely, you can now place redstone on glass blocks, dispenser with sheer sheeps now, smooth variants of existing blocks can now be obtained by smelting, leaves now drop sticks, particular dyes such as lapis, cocoa beans, and bone meal can no longer die on their own and need to be transformed into their dye item first. Cats and ocelots are now two different entities. Iron golems now spawn depending on if multiple villagers have worked and are being threatened by a zombie. Wolves count as the player's kill. A village can now spawn in the tundra. Sneaking makes you smaller again, so you can sneak under slabs this time. Okay, let's get down to serious business. 1.50 Buzzy Bees. It added bees, beehives, bee nests, honey blocks, honeycombs and honeycomb blocks, honey bottles, and the changes were bells can ring with redstone, campfires can now be extinguished with a shovel, composters now have a new craft, dispensers can harvest bee stuffs, attached stems now drop their seed again, wet sponges dry out in the nether, berry bushes now spawn in the giant tree taiga biome, all foods are edible in creative mode now, you can glide with elytras at the ascent of your jump, and that's it. Now I understand why there was a lot of Minecraft bee memes all over the internet. I would also be disappointed if that was the only major addition, but some people really didn't beehive themselves, but maybe I should mind my own business. Anyway, behold version 1.16, the Nether update. It added hoglins, piglins, striders, zoglins, zombie piglins, new pigstem music disc, ancient debris, netherite scrap, netherite ingot, block armor, and tools, new nether biomes with their own set of wood, leaves, blocks, atmosphere, etc., ruined portals, anchor points, targets, horse brick, bastions, piglin trading, new soul speed enchantment, and the changes were bells can be rung by a projectile, fossils can now appear in the nether, dispenser can add saddles and equipment as well as shearing mushrooms and snow golems, stone tools can be crafted with black stones, lava now pushes the entities, nether ward block is now the leaf of the crimson tree, smithing tables can now upgrade diamond into netherite, cows and mushrooms can now be mipped in creative mode, villagers can now spawn golems regarding of the profession. A pretty cool update if you ask me. The 1.17 and 1.18 are both separated into two parts, so I'm just gonna group them into one single category. Caves and Cliffs added a new music disc, World Height Generation revamp, Dripstone Cave biome and Lush Cave biomes, Cave rework, Goats and Goat's Horn, Axolotls, they're so cute, Glow Squid and Glow Ink, Raw Ore blocks, Copper and the Copper blocks, Lightning Rod, Amethyst Geode with the following blocks, Smooth Basalt, Amethyst Buds, Clusters and Calcite, a Spyglass, Tinted Glass, Jeep Slate, Tough, Powder Snow, Moss, Roots and Rooted Dirt, Azalea, Glow Berries, Glow Lichen, Candles, and as for the changes, there are new texture changes to help colorblind people, strongholds are now fully encapsulated in stone, when upgrading worlds, all the new chunks now blend in seamlessly, mineshafts are now supported by logs and chain, shulkers hitting each other can now spawn a new one, leads can be used on squids, shulker boxes now drop the item it contains when broken by lava or by a cactus, cauldrons can now be filled with lava, paths can now be used on every dirt, rails can now be waterlogged, spectators can now see under lava, and zombies that drop the potato on fire will give the baked version of it, which annoys me, but whatever. And to finish off this video, here's 1.19, the wild update, which is probably one of the more interesting updates, to say the least. It added allays, frogs, frog spawn, and tadpoles, as well as the tadpole bucket, the mangrove swamp biome with mud, wood, leaves, and roots, boats with chests, frog lights, a new status effect, darkness, the deep dark, ancient cities with the following blocks: Skulk, Skull Catalyst, Skulk Shriekers, and Skulk Veins, disc fragments for the 5 music disc, a recovery compass, a new enchantment, Swift Sneak, and finally the Warden, who can destroy you in seconds. Oh, and leaves are waterloggable now. And here you have it, every major update before 1.20. I hope this helped you refresh your memory. On that note, like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Peace.